What is up, RotoGrinders? Welcome to Wednesday, 2 hours nonstop. NBA DFS conversation starts right now. Myself, Al Murray. We're going to be here for the first hour and change. Yield to Crunch Time coming in around 6:15 or so. That's Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth holding it down, as well as you got Beer and Noto. Both DK and FanDuel, they got together and said, you know what? Do not need these last two games. You don't want to talk about the Thunder. We don't want to talk about the Bucks and the Raptors, and certainly who wants to talk about the Kings. The Kings are an unserious franchise. The most unserious franchise in the four majors? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic with that, but one of them. I think they're in the Family Feud board, if nothing else. Maybe we can discuss that. We can discuss a lot of random topics today because it's a 5-gamer. So it's a sprint slate, but we don't necessarily have to sprint as far as giving the analysis because 5 games, an hour and change, do the math, at least 10 minutes per on average for myself and Kyle to break down. I didn't ask Kyle, are you on projections in case anything goofy, anything gets squirrely? I did see you made some if-then stuff for a couple of the guys that are questionable tonight. Are you on call here just in case you have to do something on the fly?
Nope. Wednesdays are actually my day off. So someone else is on those if-then. So sometimes we just don't change the name on the actual article. But yeah, Wednesdays are my day off. So I'm all yours, Dean.
Thank you. All right. So Cunningham, midday downgrade to your Pistons. That's a big one for sure. And it's also meaningful that it is the last game on the slate. There's another game as well, 8 o'clock. Again, it is a sprint slate, 7 to 8. We got an hour as far as the start, the finish. Pistons taking on the Pels. They're big favorites. Midday downgrade with the illness, the fish. Who knows what he had. So maybe some jambalaya maybe in New Orleans possibly. But something is not sitting well. And then Atlanta, Memphis. So we do have another game to mess with. That's a pretty good game too. One of the better games, if not the best game in the slate, arguably. So you can kind of set up a plan. But I think that's. What do you think? Do you think Cunningham's going to play traditionally midday downgrade to illness? The batting average is not very good, right? Do you have a read on this at all as far as if Cunningham's playing or not tonight?
Yeah, not a super strong read. I guess I would lean towards him not playing. Usually the best way I get a lean on players playing and not playing is seeing what the spread does or what the player prop market does. And this line has not moved. So there's always a possibility that maybe the books were on something like that before the line because it was only 9.5 for the Pistons against the Pelicans, still at 9.5. So typically I would say he probably doesn't play because it's a midday downgrade, but the fact that the line hasn't moved, I would say maybe he does. So I'll give it a 50-50 shot. So there is some awesome analysis for you, all of you guys watching at home.
Well, I mean, there's nothing you can do. It's just guesswork. And I asked you a question that's unanswerable. And I kind of think he's not going to play too, but I don't know. I have no idea. I would say it's like, I don't know, 60-40. I don't have a strong lean on it, but I would guess he's not playing. Also in that game, Zion, he had the fish as well. He had the jambalaya as well. Both those guys are ill. Zion Williamson ill. He's questionable. Officially ruled out is Herb Jones. He was questionable early today. He's not playing basketball. He's out with that ankle still. Alvarado still out for New Orleans. And the Pistons, of course, a ton of usage would open up. If we happen to lose Cunningham, Karis LeVert also questionable, a little less important. Santi Aldama was a midday downgrade all the way to doubtful. So we're assuming he's not playing basketball tonight for Memphis. They just got back from Germany. Did you watch any of the Germany basketball? The Wagners were very well received, not surprisingly. Did you catch any of that? It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that?
Yeah, they were in Germany and then in London. That was a nice little Euro tour there. I missed the London game, or at least most of it. I did watch the Germany game. Not going to get into a bad beat, but I had a fun little prop that I was betting in the Germany game that ended up losing. So that was a fun way to tilt. Now I never want to watch a basketball game in Berlin again.
Was that the first one, right? First one ever, I think. Yeah. I saw Dirk was there, which I guess is unsurprising, and he probably had something to do, probably lobbying to get a game there. By the way, if you're in the Discord channel, you may have noticed producer Steve is feeling generous, giving away a week free of RG Premium. This, you don't have to guess any clues. You don't have to figure out any movies or any TV shows or any athletes. No skill involved. All you got to do is hit the avatar, hit the wheel avatar in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. It's no longer rigged. It once was. We don't want to talk about that. It was a dark period. but the wheel is no longer rigged. It's foolproof, good to go. And just hit that button, and your name's going to go on the wheel. We'll spin that wheel around 6 o'clock or so, give or take. Don't wait to the last second. It makes Steve's life a little bit easier. So hit that button, and you can get a week free of RG Premium. Football, baseball, basketball. I say baseball, but, obviously not right now. You got a week of baseball. Have fun with that. It's worthless. But you get the other sports, MMA, PGA in full swing. I'm MMEing the $5 this week. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. I like to dabble in the golf streets, Kyle. And I know you do as well. Do you have any picks to the people? Have you posted any winners? I saw Noto had some stuff up in scores and odds. Have you got around to that? Do you have any leans as far as the golf this week? Maybe we can tease that. Some potential scores and odds stuff if we hit the like button enough.
Yeah. Normally I would have had my plays in by now for golf, but it's like there's actually a pretty wide player pool. It's weird because Scotty Scheffler's played this week, so he's probably going to win. But outside of him, there is some guys who have a lot of value that I'm showing. So I'm like narrowing down who I like the most. So I definitely have some leans. I don't have any official plays in scores and odds yet. But if we get to a spot where we're giving out some golf plays, I know Alan was in the chat asking for my favorite golf play of the week. So if we get to that point, I'll definitely have some names to throw out. That's for sure.
You grind the DFS golf as well? Yeah.
That's honestly, I will say that's probably my favorite golf, like DFS sweat, because obviously you get it for hopefully 4 days, but you have the cut sweat on Fridays, and then the Sunday sweat. I genuinely think that it's nice, and I love the midday sweats, right? So you're not like waiting till late at night, or football's kind of the same, but it's only one day. But being able to log on, do some NBA stuff while having golf on the side, that's maybe a slight reason why I love sweating out golf as well.
When do you start tilting golf? Like if you're 72 holes in theory, assuming your guy makes the cut. Like if your guy bogeys the first hole, are you already on tilt? Are you?
Yeah. Well, it depends on who it is. But last week there was a guy who I kind of thought was like a young up and coming. I guess he's not super young, but he came over from the DP World Tour, and he is the new Norwegian guy. So obviously Victor Hovland, Norwegian, and then Christopher Wright. He was coming over from Norway. I thought he was going to be really interesting option. Played him pretty significantly. I think he made a triple on like the 6th hole, and I was like, all right, I'm done with this guy. Never playing him again. Send him back to Europe. We're good. He ended up finishing 16 over through 2 rounds. I was like, yeah, it's pretty rough. Hopefully he shakes off that rust though.
16 overs is kind of impressive. If that's like you're almost like trying to just screw around at some point, I guess. But I'm in the golf streets. I'm coming for you this week, Kyle. We'll see.
Looking forward to it.
I don't know anything about golf, to be clear. I mean, I know, so I recognize some of the names, but and somebody point this out in chat. I did know this. The cut line, it's 3 rounds, and they cut after the 3rd round. Are you aware of this?
Yes.
Format this week.
Yeah, so we have 3 courses in the rotation. So everybody plays the 3 different courses, and then they do the cut line. So that's why we have the 54-hole cut instead of the 36-hole cut, and we, instead of even having 2 courses in rotation, 3 different courses in rotation. So it makes it a little bit trickier to handicap for sure.
Yeah, maybe like widen your variance. I don't know. Oh, by the way, we should mention that there's a show that the Tuesday nights they banked the show. They did it last night. Notorious will be on later. Notorious and STL Cards. The Drive for Dough, I believe it's called Drive for Dough, if I'm not mistaken. That's the name of the golf show. Do check that out here. That's why you hit the like button. That's why you subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Hit all the buttons. Hit all the things. All right. Again, we got an hour, plenty of time to knock out the 5-gamer from a DFS perspective for tonight's basketball slate. People are hitting the avatar here in the live stream chat channel. Producer Steve's building our wheel. We're going to give away a week free of RG Premium. Did mention Cunningham. Midday downgrade is questionable. That's the latest game on the slate, 8 o'clock on the main slate. Zion as well on the other side is questionable. Santi Aldama is doubtful. Otherwise, we kind of know. We kind of know, who's in and who's out. Like we have, something can pop up. Something can always pop up. It is the association, but not a lot of teams as far as back half, front half. Just one team on the front half of a back-to-back. That's Charlotte. Charlotte taking on Orlando tomorrow night. We have seen them kind of baby LaMelo Ball to some degree. keeping his minutes like mid to upper 20s at most in back-to-back stuff. And nobody in the back end of a back-to-back tonight on the main slate. Any general thoughts before we dive in here tonight? Again, the Cunningham thing is super important, and we'll tackle it the best way we can, kind of give it an if-then conversation when we get there. But how are you seeing the slate on the whole?
Yeah, I think obviously that's going to be a big news, obviously the Zion stuff as well. And then, we've already got a pretty significant amount of news. Obviously, we have the Cleveland guys already out. Jalen Williams is out for OKC. Got a couple of Milwaukee guys out. So you mentioned the Aldama being downgraded to doubtful. So, yeah, there's a good amount of news on the slate, which I tend to like. I guess I shouldn't say I hate. I always get like a little frenzied when I'm on projections and we get news that are it's like super crazy. But to be honest, I can't really remember too many scenarios this year when we've had like the crazy, insane news like 10 minutes before lock. So that's kind of gone away with this new injury reporting stuff. So the more news, the better, in my opinion, because it makes it more difficult for people to adjust to what teams are going to be expecting and whatnot. So I think that gives us a little bit of an edge with projections and stuff. So, hey, the more news, the merrier. I will never turn it away.
Do you think it's going to be cleaner in March too? Obviously, this stuff gets really ugly the last couple weeks of the season.
Yeah.
You think they're going to do a little bit better? I mean, it's not hard to improve.
Yeah. I mean, cleaner. I think the injury report's still going to be crazy because we're going to have so many wacky teams doing crazy things. But it all comes down to timing. Like it gets messy when it's like after 6:30 or like in that half-hour block for when the game's about to actually tip off. And obviously, you'll sometimes have games that tip off at 8, but we get the slate locking at 7, and you'll get bad timing for news. With the other night, I think the Denver guys were ruled out at 7 o'clock on the dot. So that's always going to happen with the later games, but it only gets really crazy in my opinion when it's like that time window, a half hour before the game. But yeah, we're certainly going to see some names that we never heard before. We're going to see teams. We already see a couple teams trying to do it. The Jazz have been trying to do it, so we're certainly going to see some wonky names, and that is March is my favorite time for NBA prop betting. So keep it coming.
Me and you are both night owls. I see you, like, I get notifications from Scores and Odds like 3 o'clock in the morning. Kyle just posted something, and that's where you get the best lines. A lot of times you wake up, that line is gone. That's a deadline. Somebody hammered it in the middle of the night. Other people that are still lurking, hanging around. But so I always like the 3 o'clock in the morning notifications when you're firing off the NBA lines.
Yeah, my favorite thing to do right now is to. Obviously, I'm up super late because I do the overnight projections, and then I put in a bunch of bets or as much as I can, and then wake up whenever. Sometimes it's later than it probably should be. And my favorite thing to do is see how much CLV I got on those props. So it doesn't always end up resulting in money, but the CLV is always nice.
What, Sklansky bucks, I believe that's what they call it.
I think CLV bucks pay even less on the US dollar than Sklansky bucks, but we'll take it.
There's no it's not, the rate is not particularly good. Zero. You get nothing, but you feel great about yourself though. Like, I'm sharp and I'm broke. Cleveland is taking on Charlotte. That's the only 7 o'clock game. 238.5 is the total. I was gonna say the battle of the Ball brothers, but like Lonzo barely plays these days. Cleveland is a 4-point favorite here in Charlotte. Who's in, who's out? Well, big piece out already. Established news is that Darius Garland is not playing basketball tonight. He's got that toe. It's the big one. It's the great toe. He's out. As far as Charlotte, Trey Mann is good to go. He's in. Anything else of note? Not really. Charlotte is pretty much fully healthy. I mean, Plum Dog's out. Who cares? Because Diabate's in, Cockbrunner's in. So that's really fully healthy, essentially. Offense here for, I don't know why I say offense. It's the defense too. They play both sides. Well, Trae Young, some players play both sides. James Harden. Hornets, Cavs, Donovan Mitchell, in an awesome spot here. I think one of the best big spends in the slate. And the thing is, like, if Cunningham doesn't play, he's like a clear pivot. I don't want to say pivot, but he's clearly better. He's going to outscore Cunningham if he's not playing. But we might not know that news until after this game locks. How you feeling about Cleveland and the Hornets?
Yeah, I actually like this game quite a bit. I think that there's some. At least I thought there was some value on Charlotte. It does look like there is going to be some ownership on the Charlotte side, but this is a spot where past 2 games, these guys have not played full minutes because they've been in blowouts. And I think this is actually a really good spot, especially for Con Knipple. Love this spot for him. And Brandon Miller. Cleveland allows a lot of threes, and I believe that they're a top 3 matchup in terms of 3-point percentage allowed. So love the spot for Brandon Miller and Con Knipple. I do like LaMelo Ball, but I mean, he's going to play 25, 26 minutes, so difficult to really get super invested there. Also don't mind Miles Bridges. Moussa Diabate at 5'2", I think, is even a decent play. So I think there's a lot of interest that I have in the starters for Charlotte other than LaMelo Ball. Probably cannot play him at that price tag with the minutes limit. On the Cleveland side, I think Donovan Mitchell is an interesting option. 9.5 on DraftKings. Should play 34, 35 plus minutes. Worth noting, maybe you wouldn't have expected this preseason, but Cleveland, Charlotte, 2.5 point spread. We've seen Donovan Mitchell kind of not necessarily be a guy who can play 36, 37 plus minutes all that often, but he did just do that against Philly last week in a game that was super close down to the wire. So if this game is close, I think we could see Donovan Mitchell push to 37, 38 minutes in a good matchup here against Charlotte. Assist rate should be expected to be higher with no Garland. So yeah, I like him quite a bit. Jalen Tyson at 6,100 is a guy who projects for like 31, 32 minutes. He's, I think, maybe a little bit to the point where he's priced out a little bit, but he's shown some of the ceiling. So I think you can still get away with playing him at 6'1". Not a ton of interest in Mobley for me. Not a ton of interest in Jared Allen, just because I think that probably have some better options in that price range at the center position. And then if I'm playing a Cleveland guy, I do think he'd probably be my 3rd favorite Cav behind Mitchell and behind Jalen Tyson. Obviously, Craig Porter's worked out for me a few times on the show.
Yeah.
His minutes have not actually been all that great the last 2 weeks or the last 2 games with Garland out. And that's mainly because they've been a little bit more interested in playing Tyrese Proctor. Lonzo Ball's getting a few minutes. So we haven't seen him play like 26 to 28 minutes yet. I do think that's still a possibility for him in any given game. We saw the random start the other night, a couple weeks ago. I don't think that happens, but it could. I mean, again, Dean Wade is a literal pylon cone out there, so they could end up going back to Craig Porter Jr. at any moment. So that's worth noting. But at 5'1", kind of tough to play him there.
I not to pick apart your analogy, or I guess your descriptive. When I hear pylon, maybe this is somebody else that does this, somebody else I know in my life that says, "Oh, this player is a pylon." They usually use it as like a hockey defenseman. That means like a bad defender, right? Yeah. And I think Dean Wade is like a terrible offensive player, obviously, but a good defender. I think that's why he sticks around. So yeah. Were you using it that way? Again, I'm not when I hear what you call him a pylon, I think you were saying he's worthless from our DFS perspective. I think maybe not.
Yes. Well, I don't think that he has. I mean, he's not a bad defender by any means, and you're right. Like pylons typically is a saying for defensive purposes. Yeah. But yeah, I think generally just from a DFS perspective, he's essentially a nothing. But I do think that they can still play probably a more net positive lineup without him offensively, especially with Garland out. But yeah, mainly it was from a DFS metaphor there.
Okay, yeah. I was just curious from my own curiosity. I'm like, is he not as good a defender as I thought he was in my head? I thought he was a pretty decent defender, and that's kind of how he sticks around. Takes up some space. Candidate 3 theoretically as well. Yeah. You mentioned the upside of Jalen Tyson. He flashed at the other game, like, you're not going to get this again, maybe ever. I don't know, but he dropped 39 in 38 minutes at Philly, 13 of 17 from the field, 7 of 9 from 3. Like, that's not necessarily repeatable. And he's now like the most expensive we probably have ever seen. But he also, I think he might be pretty good. I think he's a decent player, and we're expecting a fair bit of minutes here in Cleveland. We talk about Ball. He's basically buried for Cleveland. We're expecting 11 minutes for Lonzo. Basically unplayable. Like, there's no chance I'm playing him. And you mentioned LaMelo, just hard to play because we're projecting he's basically a full asking price. We're projecting 25 minutes. You need that 5 minutes is so important. If you got 5 more, all of a sudden he'd be in play. Is there any chance we can possibly see? It's an ESPN game. If you want to tell yourself a story, ESPN, you get a few extra commercials, a little bit more, a little bit more rest. Does that matter? Is that something that's factored in? It's the front end of a back-to-back, and that's kind of when it's they haven't been necessarily resting him, just kind of like babying the minutes, where like both games he's kind of not playable. And tomorrow he's playing in Orlando. This will be the start of 3 and 4 as well. No, I don't know if they would just maybe give him a few more minutes tonight and just rest him tomorrow. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but maybe that's something that could happen. But you feel pretty confident that Ball, it's kind of like 25 minutes, maybe 26, 27 at most.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could make a case for the narratives with
his brother.
The brother, and also the primetime game. Like I think this got to be the first Charlotte primetime game maybe ever. So
ever. Alonzo Mourning takes umbrage.
Yeah, I guess in this decade. But yes, maybe that there's a little bit of boost there, but I still think that they're probably pretty cautious about it. My main thing is, like, we've seen LaMelo Ball have a ceiling in limited time, like when we went and saw him off the bench that night and he went berserk. My only thing is, do we really want to chase that game when, like, you can chase a similar ceiling with Brandon Miller or even Con Knipple at cheaper price tags? So that's the main issue that I have with LaMelo Ball. And he just hasn't, I mean, he's still been good from a permanent perspective this year, but he's been a little bit worse compared to previous seasons. So that's the main issue that I have with LaMelo Ball. It's not like a super strong slate, like spend up wise. So you could make the case, especially if Kate Cunningham's off the board. But I do think it's, at the end of the day, it's still pretty tough because you're basically asking for some, things that you can't really quantify to help him get a few more minutes. So that's the main issue that I have there.
So, like, in 29 minutes, and again, we're not projecting 20 minutes. I suppose it's possible he plays 29 minutes against the Lakers. He dropped 61 DK. I think the game you were referencing was the game against Indiana, where he played 27 and put up 56 plus 33 points in the bucket. Like, he can do it. It's a little bit tougher. The path is a little trickier. If I'm assuming you're not running 150, do you run 150? How many laps do you play, give or take?
Not doing 150 tonight. I'll probably just do one on each site tonight.
So you're not playing them. But, like, in theory, if you were running 150, if you dabbled in those streets, would you give him a pinch? Would you be even with the field at 2 or 3%, or you just don't think it makes sense?
I mean, in 150, I would certainly have some LaMelo. I think because he still does have a pretty significant ceiling, even in a 26-minute projection. And like I mentioned, like, it's not a super, strong, like, spend up, or I guess even mid range, 8K plus slate. So I would have a little bit of them, but from they'd probably take like 25 plus lineups to get any interest there.
I haven't heard that before. I've heard Emo Jimmy, but producer Steve is calling that picture Heat Wentz. I've not heard that. I didn't know. Have you heard that before? As far as Jimmy Butler, that's pretty good.
I haven't. Is that a Fall Out Boy reference?
Yes. Yeah. The lead singer of Fall Out Boy is
not a Carson Wentz reference.
I don't think it's a Carson Wentz. Maybe it is. Carson, he was hot for a bit. He had a moment, and then he wasn't. But that's pretty well done. I guess I don't know if that's Steve's or that's somebody else's, maybe the internet's, but I've never heard that before for whatever reason. The chat was talking about the revenge for Sexton. I mean, are you getting excited about Colin Sexton revenge? Probably not. You tell me.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Tough to project any more than like 20 minutes for him, so can't get there.
Yeah. You can only do so much revenging with 20 minutes. It sounded like Knipple was your favorite play in Charlotte. Is that right?
I think Brandon Miller's probably my favorite DFS play. Knipple is the guy that I bet in the prop market, but Brandon Miller probably my favorite DFS play tonight for Charlotte. There's just a lot of 3-point upside, and Knipple and Miller can both take advantage of that. So yeah, I'll go with one of those two, but I'll give Miller the slight edge.
I'm checking out the ownership stuff. If you're on Lineup HQ, give it a refresh. We just got a new batch about 10 minutes ago or so. Specific to this game, most popular player we're currently seeing is Jalen Tyson at 27% on DK. Miller, your guy, 25%. Knipple, 24%. So neck and neck as far as the two most popular players for Charlotte. And then Donovan Spider, 20%. 20% seems a little low when you consider his upside. You're talking about the minutes he can play and the usage he can play here. 36 minutes, and there's a chance he grabs a couple more. Where do you have Diabate? As far as there's several centers. There's Diabate, and we'll talk about Keita at some point soon enough, and then we'll talk about dude for Memphis, big boy for Memphis. Forgetting his name, Jock Landale. Where do you have those three rank as far as like the 5K center?
Yeah, I think Jock's probably my favorite of the bunch. Diabate I do like quite a bit. I do think there's it's a not the worst rebounding spot, and I do think that maybe we'll see some more minutes for Diabate just because I think they'll need his size. Who was the third name? Was it Portis?
No, no, Portis, no, not Portis. Oh boy,
Keita.
Keita for Boston.
Yeah, I would rank those guys Jock, then Diabate, and then Keita.
And I guess Jay Huff is the one that like you never really know, and he's like nobody's going to roster him, but
yeah,
in theory he could be the best one or the worst. He's probably not going to be in the middle. Probably the best or the worst.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else as far as Cleveland and Charlotte, or shall we scoot along?
I think we're good on that one.
Pacers and the Celtics, 225.5 is the total. The Celtics are 11.5 point favorites. Who's in and who's out for this one? I mean, Boston is a big favorite, double-digit favorite. Everybody's healthy. Jaylen Brown is officially on the injury report with a hamstring, but he's probable. Josh Minot, we have not seen in a while. Doesn't matter. He's got an ankle. As far as the Pacers, we haven't seen Mathurin for a while. We haven't seen Halliburton all season long. Nothing really new injury-wise for both these teams. Both these teams on an island game. I think I haven't made it just yet. Don't hold me to it. I don't like to speak in definitives or absolutes. But it's a 5-game slate. I wrote about this in the survey today, Kyle, and I think I'm making a small slate even smaller. I'm pretty sure on my main lineup I'm not going to play anybody in this game or anybody in the next game. I think I'm just going to shrink the slate. You're only making one lineup too. But I know Pritchard is projecting pretty well. I just don't like Boston. I'm just kind of sort of hoping for a blowout. Nobody hits a ceiling. I don't mind some of these plays individually. They still might land on one, but I don't expect to stack it in any sense. I don't anticipate playing any Pacers on my main lineup. How about yourself? Are you seeing Boston and Indiana as one of the more interesting games amongst the 5 we're offered? Or are you kind of with me where you're hoping it just doesn't get goofy and you're going to kind of mostly ignore it, if not fully ignore it?
Yeah, in my one lineup, I'll probably just ignore it for the most part. I think that maybe you can make a case that if this game does stay close, it is a pretty solid spot here for some of the Boston guys. But the Pacers, I mean, you can't play any of the ancillary guys because they all could play 4 minutes and not really be all that surprising. Like even Johnny Furphy's in the equation to where he could start and play 12 minutes. That's what he did last game. You mentioned Jay Hop. We've seen the ceiling. I think it was last Friday. He played 28 minutes and scored 29 points. And then the following game, he played like 13 minutes or something like that. So it's just really tough to trust any of these guys from a minutes perspective, and the matchup is bad. So not playing any of the Pacers. The best options would be Nembhard or Siakam, but again, I think there's just better options in those ranges, even within this game alone. And on the other side, I think Jaylen Brown is a fine spend up. He wouldn't be my favorite on the board, but if you wanted to, maybe look for a lower owned option in this, 9 to 10K range, he will certainly fit the bill because we know he has the monster ceiling, but you do have to worry about, potential blowout and him only playing 30, 31 minutes, and if he can get it done in that time. So not a favorite play of mine, but he certainly fits the bill for a potential tournament guy with the ceiling.
Ownership-wise, most popular play in this game on DK is currently Pritchard at 18%, Keita, the aforementioned Keita, at 17%, Jaylen Brown at 16%, Nembhard at 12%, most popular Pacer. Simons is another one of those guys that's just like a big, a big delta, I guess they would say, right? He could be all over the map. If I told you he scored 8 fantasy points, you wouldn't be shocked. If I told you he put up 40, you probably wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
And he's also a guy that could potentially thrive in a blowout. We're looking at 12% for Simons. Everybody else is in the single digits. Hauser at 9, Naismith 9, White is 5. That's a little low for somebody who's an upside. And then there's Pascal. Pascal, one of the stars, is just kind of fully ignored, mostly ignored at 5%. I don't really like him either, but I don't anticipate having him on a roster tonight. But certainly you can do that if you want to do that. That you want to be different. He certainly has the potential to break the slate. What is that game we were talking about the other night? You might have some experience with it. The DK King of the Court. Do you have King of the Court experience?
I do, yeah. Yep.
I don't have access to it. I don't have access to the DK Sportsbook. I believe I had it right. Tell me if I'm wrong. The DK Sportsbook, they say basically tell us who scores the most. Is the most actual points in the bucket? Is it fantasy points? Or is
it's most PRA.
Oh, okay. Most PRA. Okay. Do you want to give the people like a 30-second or a minute just sort of strategy to it? Because, obviously it's not who's likely, most likely.
Yeah.
Because you're splitting a pool. Tell the people you're sharp enough to figure it out. You know what's going on. But some people were asking about it the other night.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks I've actually tweeted some King of the Court projections. So based on the PRA projections, I get a King of the Court likelihood projection, and it feels like 5 or 6 weeks in a row we've had Luka on the slate. So he's usually the far and away leader, and he was the one that ended up winning last night. I took Steph last night because it all comes down to what you're looking to chase, right? And for me, if you're trying to get bonus bets, me personally, I'm not all that interested in a $25 bonus bet, which is what you would get if you pick Luka. Luka has been on average from $25 to $28 bonus bet. Last week, for example, LeBron won, and it was a $2,000 bonus bet for LeBron. So those are the kinds of plays that I'm typically looking for. Last week, I took Jamal Murray, and he would have been like a $160 bonus bet, I believe it was. It was actually leading the slate until the final 2 minutes of that Lakers game, at midnight when LeBron kind of went off to end the game and beat out Jamal Murray. So it all comes down to, essentially it's fairly similar to DFS, right? Where you're looking for the lower owned plays. So that way you can get the most expected value back in those bonus bets. Now you don't want to do anything too crazy because odds are a guy like, for example, Dyson Daniels, he's probably not going to go out and win King of the Court most nights, depending on who's on the slate. There have been crazy nights that we've seen some off the wall winners, but you kind of want to find that the happy medium of guys who have that nice upside, but also not necessarily are taking away too much value from those bonus bets that you could win. Because at the end of the day, especially when there's guys on the slate like Luka or like Giannis, they're going to take up a lot of that piece of the pie. So you can get guys similar. So like Steph, for example, last night, he'd probably be pretty similar to a lot of no names, because if he's 7 or 8% owned in that King of the Court tournament, you're getting a decent little bonus bet chunk back there. So I would typically recommend chasing as much upside as you can without necessarily giving yourself no chance. So I always say kind of find that happy medium, which is kind of the name of the game for NBA. Like, for example, if you're building a DFS lineup, you don't want to leave $2,000 on the board in your salary in your lineups. So you want to kind of find the happy medium of guys who have the ceiling, but also are maybe being a bit overlooked.
Do you have somebody tonight that you're looking at? Is this something they run every single night? I don't know this. Is it?
They do it once a week. It's usually on. So far this season, it's been every Tuesday.
Okay. And is the pool always the same? How much do they give away?
It's always $1 million. They did one. It might have been Christmas. They did one day where it was $3 million to the top 3 players. So of PRA. So they've done that once this year, and the rest has been $1 million in bonus bets dispersed every Tuesday.
It's a great concept. I like it. I think it's a good promo. I wish I could partake, and I like the strategy as well. And like to your point, you said, and every slate's different, but there's no point don't ever take Luka. Why? What's the point? What are you doing? What's a $25 bonus bet? It's nice, but swing for the fences. And the example you gave, you said LeBron was paying out 2,000 as opposed to 25. That's 80 to 1. You're telling me I can get 80 to 1 on LeBron outscoring Luka and PRA. He's probably not going to, but he's going to do it more often than once every 80 times. Yep. It's very simple.
Yep, 100%.
But also pick somebody that has a chance too. Apparently, according to chats, or is that producer Steve? They had a hockey one, and somebody getting $20,000. Hockey's one where you can get a little goofy because anybody can get not anybody, but you can have a random third liner, get a hat trick.
What they do is actually it's a little different for each sport. Someone mentioned they won 10,000 in bonus bets on King of the Diamond, so they do baseball.
Yeah,
said Wilmer Flores. So King of the Diamond, I think might be home runs.
I think it's total bases.
Total bases, and then Dean, the hockey one they did. I think what the little part of the game was, it was if you picked the player who scored fastest on the slate. Whoever scored the first goal, and I think they picked a guy who scored in 30 seconds, and it was some name I never even heard of.
Yeah, I love that, and never picked Connor McDavid or whatever. You're being silly.
if it's the score the fastest goal, that's not necessarily.
But everybody else is doing that. It's
true. Okay, true in that sense, yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most likely, possibly, right? The top 3. But yeah, I do love that game theory. It's a pretty fun wrinkle. Steve,
and they did this past weekend, or maybe it was last weekend for football. I think it was whoever scored the longest touchdown.
Yeah, they've been doing that a few. They started that last year too, so they've been doing that quite a bit, especially on these playoff slates. The longest touchdown one, yeah.
Are you?
And we just got clarification. So the baseball one was the player needs to home run, but that team that he's on has to score the most runs of the night.
Okay, so yeah, like don't play players in cores, I guess, is like a starting point, probably.
Yeah,
I imagine. But again, yeah, I'd love to participate. It seems like a fun contest for sure. All right. Anything else here as far as Indiana and Boston? Move along.
Yep, let's move along.
We saw producer Steve, and again, he's compiling on the Discord channel and the live stream chat channel names on the wheel. The wheel will be spun around 6 o'clock or so. Make his life easier. Hit that button now, and you get your name on the board, and you might get a week free of RJ Premium. And do we have a threshold for a number of likes? Maybe we'll spin it twice if Steve is feeling frisky or generous. If we get the likes up to a certain number that's acceptable for Steve.
100.
100. All right.
And someone asked for Kyle's ladder plays, but I said he has to pick the number of likes for
that. Let me see if I have any. I had an Anthony Edwards ladder last night that didn't come through, and I also bet Anthony Melton.
It somewhat did. 35.
Yeah, 35. Yeah, but
he had 38, I think.
He has a 38. Yeah, he scored 9 points in a row, and from a minute 12 until about 15 seconds left. So in that minute stretch, he scored 9 in a row. Would have been nice to get into that 40 because the 40 was plus 280 or something like that. So just missed that one, and I took a D'Anthony Melton ladder, and that would have been really cool if I picked literally anybody else. Any other Warrior ladder would have been nice. Kuminga, healed, Quentin Post, every single Warrior player other than Steph Curry obviously had an alt number hit, or at least the relevant names, but not D'Anthony Melton. So I'll see if I can find one for people, and we'll say 75 likes if I can find one.
I meant to play. And this is not revisionist history, but I meant to bet Kuminga because I thought there was either a chance he was not going to play at all or play a good bit, and he wasn't going to play at all. Your bet gets voided. Yeah, I was going to bet some overs on Kuminga, and he, of course, they were down 30 or so. And you mentioned Steph Curry; he was great for a low ball because it did that thing where the bench played really well, and they were down a whole bunch, and then they never brought the starters back in. They just let the bench close, and they kind of punched back and made it respectable. But was there numbers on Kuminga, or maybe they wouldn't have put a number out there in the market? But because
I didn't see any. Yeah.
What a disaster! What a disaster for Golden State. Are we going to get Steph traded, or is he impossible to trade? They got to blow it up, right?
I think he's impossible to trade. I think the Warriors fans would lose their mind. I mean, I don't know. I guess they
know it's over, right?
Yeah, probably. But I mean, they also thought it was over last year too when they got Butler. So maybe they can pull a rabbit out of a hat and make another trade.
How?
I don't know. You can do a lot of things that I don't understand with the salary cap and stuff like that in the NBA and all the aprons and whatnot.
I don't know about the aprons either. The second apron, there's 2 aprons.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe, who knows? But yeah.
Fire the trade machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we've already seen Trae Young traded. There's a chance, these are unlikely to happen, but possible. We see Giannis get moved. There's a chance we see Ja get moved in midseason, and Steph, Draymond. I don't know, but most of the trades that we talk about don't happen. So you're just kind of wasting energy. But they're fun for a conversation sometimes. Brooklyn, this is not going to be fun. I don't think it's going to be fun. Maybe producer Steve's not going to enjoy it either because his Knicks have not been playing particularly well, but the antidote is the Nets. Battle of New York. New York is a 12.5-point favorite. 220.5 is the total. New York versus Brooklyn. Brooklyn big time dogs here. As far as who's in and who's out in this one, well, take a peek at the old injury report, and everybody's healthy basically for Brooklyn. We even got Daron Sharp back from his illness, and New York has nobody on the injury report. I keep scanning the injury report; they're not on there because is there not one person? Not even the 17th guy for New York is questionable. I think they're fully healthy, unless I just can't read the injury report. They're fully healthy, right?
Looks that way to me.
Okay. Or for some reason the NBA forgot to put New York on the NBA.com, but I don't think so. I think that's the way it's been. That's the way it's been all day long. So a game that's not a great game environment, right? and then everybody's healthy. I don't like this game. I said I'm crossing out Boston, Indiana most likely, and I'm again almost definitely crossing out New York and Brooklyn. This game to me is pretty clearly the least appealing amongst the five. They are questionable to win. That is correct. Yeah, it's been a tough scene for New York of late. Overachieved with under Tibbs, and now all of a sudden maybe life's not so great, and you realize, hey, these guys aren't that good, and they're also not very deep. Yeah, what do you got as far as Brooklyn and New York? Can you sell me on anybody here?
It's really not my favorite game. I think that there is like a little bit of potential upside just because they are going to be pretty low owned, and while this Nets team does play pretty slow and they have been playing a little bit better defense lately, they're still a bottom 10 to 12 defensive unit. So there's still a little bit of upside. And we know that, Brunson and Cat, these guys do have ceiling games. And I will say Josh Hart and Bridges and even Anunoby are priced fine. So I think it's not the worst spot. I think it's kind of comparable to the Boston game. I think I probably like this game a little bit more than the Boston Indy game. But I think that if this game could stay close, which, I mean, the Knicks don't inspire a ton of confidence of blowing anybody out right now. I think it's tough to even put them in the win column for this one, automatically, even though it's an 11.5 point spread. If this game does stay close, we could see these guys push for a few more minutes. There's the whole narrative of, Jalen Brunson calling the players only meeting and whatnot. So if we get a game where the game does stay close and Brunson plays 36, 37 minutes, Cat plays 34, 35 minutes, I do think that there's some upside there. Probably not my favorite spot, but I will say if you do play anybody from the Knicks, I really like pairing them with Michael Porter Jr. I think this is a decent spot for him. The Knicks defend the three very poorly, and Michael Porter Jr. just constantly takes 10 threes a game. So if he gets hot one night and hits 5 or 6 of them, that could easily, not only help keep the game close, but also easily be a guy who we've seen have double-double upside. He even has a little bit of an assist upside now. So MPJ is a guy who I think is a sneaky solid tournament play, especially if he's going to be sub 10%. So if you are playing, especially one of those spend up guys, obviously that the bummer about that is it takes up a lot of your salary that you're using, but it does correlate those guys pretty well. So I would say that about this game.
I'd love to see the historical data of, we always just kind of assume, players only, meaning they're going to come out playing hard. It's like birthday narrative or, revenge games. And we talk about all this nonsense, but is it really a thing? Or we only kind of notice it when it actually happens? What is the historical data? Can somebody do that on next game after players only meeting? What do you guys think?
Also want to point out, Kyle was talking about the spread. I mean, we were 11-point favorites against the Mavs, and we were down by 30 at one point. I think we lost by 18.
Yep.
So
17, lost by 17 at home.
That was with no one. They had no one.
I think Flag was at that game too. Was there
no Flag? Flag played.
Okay,
he played the whole game.
Okay, yeah, but still, what an embarrassment. They've lost 9 of their last 11, and Brunson. I heard him say I'd boo us too. He was talking about getting booed. It's I'd boo as well. We've been terrible. But this, in theory, does seem like a get right game. Mike in chat says bet Nets to cover. It's a stay away from me. I'm just not messing with it. I don't have a take as far as the side or the total with Brooklyn and New York. I will not be watching it. I'll tell you that. I don't think. Yeah, not watching this game. Does not make the quad box. You mentioned Porter, he's just not going to get played. So he's another guy that has the upside. Theoretically, he could be the guy that if DK was doing its thing with King of the Court, somebody that would be in the pool of options potentially on the right night. Brunson 16% on DK, Bridges 14%. I saw in the chat talking about Robinson. You're not going to get a ton of minutes, but you got to get it in the right side of rebounds, putbacks, dunks, and blocks. There's a chance. My issue with Robinson is that he's just not that much cheaper than Keita, not that much cheaper than we talking about I'm forgetting the guy's name again.
Jock
Landale. He's very, very similar as far as the price in Diabate. So I don't see him beating all those guys. I guess he can, but that's just probably why I'm not going to play him. Almost definitely why I'm not going to play him. And then Porter is coming in at I got to scroll down 4% for Porter.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're playing single entry, you're on Border Island essentially, and he's got to get there. He's got to do his thing. But if he does, all of a sudden you're in business. You're investing.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I don't think, and obviously that was like the selling point on this game, but I think you can play MPJ on his own. So Mr. Irrelevant does say that he hasn't scored 40 points since being linked to Ice Spice, which we had this conversation last time I was on the show.
I gave it a Google. Yeah, I knew what you're referencing. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you're on board now with the Ice Spice trend.
Yeah, I knew about her Dunkin' commercials. But so Chop was saying the other night that Bam Adebayo was being negatively affected by Asia Wilson. So I don't know. He like mid shot, he's thinking about Asia Wilson because he shot 1 for 13. That was the only thing that would explain it. Is that he's thinking about he's in love, and I don't know. But sometimes maybe if like she's in the crowd, you want to kind of impress her. Again, I need to see I want to see the hard data on this. I want to see the stats. That was Chop's theory though. And I think he turned around and actually had a pretty decent night the next night. So maybe it's nothing. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Maybe it all comes down to, their pregame festivities. Maybe they're home, they're not at home. You never know. There's a lot of dynamics in play that we might not fully be able to grasp here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Nothing like a home cooked meal,
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And then who knows what's going on the road? Some of these guys are not as active on the Instagram, but okay. Chat is wild and down. What is chat talking about right now in chat? This is a 5-gamer.
Oh man, we need more games. Otherwise, we end up needing Jesus.
How is that word like not muted on chat? How does that get through the censor?
Yeah.
I never figured out. I never gone through the words that should be yeah, okay. All right. Chat's having a good time.
And honestly, the most insane comment, the most crazy one, the most wild comment might have just dropped. Triple J being a lock.
Oh boy.
That's what Mark is saying. That might even be crazier than what Don Easy's talking about right now.
Famous last words. Yeah. Triple J, man. What a disappointment. He peaked at 19, right? I think he might have picked at 19 potentially. And he was 19 for 4 years, to be fair. Yeah. But
I peaked at 19.
Good to know. We got
cameo ladder is cashing.
What's that?
The cameo, the producer Steve cameo is the ladder is cashing.
Smash
that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was good. That was a good one.
Especially if you had sent information that's Wheel Wednesday, which, by the way, I don't want to cut anybody off, but come on, get in there now. We don't want Steve scrambling at the last second. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. Last chance, get that Discord channel and hit the avatar under Steve's post. It says Wheel Wednesday. There's a RotoGrinders avatar. You got a chance to win yourself a week free of RG Premium. If we hit the like button not twice, 100 times.
Once. If you hit the like button twice, it cancels it out. But we're only at 54.
Hit it 7 times or 57, an odd number.
Odd number, yeah.
Hit it as many times as you want. Just make sure it's an odd number of times. You have an OCD thing or something. But okay, Brooklyn, New York. We moving on? We done?
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's talk about. Should we talk? Let's talk. Yeah, we'll spin the wheel after this. After this game, we'll spin the wheel. We'll give it a whirl. Detroit, your Pistons. This is the last game on the slate, at least in the last time block. There's another 8:00 game we'll talk about soon enough. Your Pistons are in New Orleans. 229.5 is the total. Detroit's a 10-point favorite. I assume we've gotten nothing new here. Let's see. Yeah, nothing new as far as the illness, the current status, the temperature of both Cade Cunningham and Zion. They're both currently questionable with the illness. And otherwise, Detroit is pretty healthy, right? Karis LeVert is questionable. That's not that meaningful. And Herb Jones, nothing new here for New Orleans. He's out. Jose Alvarado is out with his oblique. All right, so if Cade's in, we're assuming he's a full go. If Zion's in, we're assuming they're full go if they're in. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah. Unless, blowout might factor in here. But yeah, if these guys play, I would be protecting them fully.
How interested are we? Do we have a plan? Do we currently have Cade in as a placeholder? Are you still kind of figuring it out? How much are we prioritizing him? Are you just going to say, screw it, just give me Donovan Mitchell? I know he's going to play. He's probably going to be pretty good. He's a little bit cheaper too. What's the Cade plan right now?
I mean, right now, I think the way I'm approaching my builds is I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't play, because then there's a couple spend ups here. Obviously, we've talked about Mitchell. There's a couple other guys in that price range that I think I like either just as much of or equal to. And if Cade does end up getting rolled out, this becomes one of maybe the best game on the board, especially from a value perspective. So that's kind of the way I'm approaching it, more of a hope, cross your fingers and hope. But I also think there's just a lot of ways to build, and I think that even if he does play fully, there's still plenty of other options that you can make a case for being a little bit better. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Let's say Cade's out. Do we like Jenkins or do we like Ivy? We've seen Ivy start in this situation before, but not play as well as Jenkins. And I think Jenkins, I want to say he's closed. It's a little bit of a hedge, I suppose. You're better at this than I am, but we're giving Jenkins 22 minutes on our if-then, and we're giving Ivy 23. This is under the assumption that Cunningham and LeVert are both out. Holland 24. They'll still have plenty of bodies, right? To me, Harris is a really, really safe cash game play. Do what you want in tournaments, but he feels like a really good cash game build play, if nothing else. All-Star Thompson's another guy who would get a bump looking at our values. Do you have a lean as far as Jenkins versus Ivy? Would you make sure to split them? Only play one?
I would prefer, I would probably split them. I don't think you necessarily have to, but I think that's probably the way I would end up building it. I would probably prefer Jenkins. We've seen him be the guy who can end up being more of a minute ceiling guy, and obviously Ivy's been a little bit cautious. We've seen him, pop for 24, 25 minutes at times, but I don't think it's anything super consistent that we can rely on. So he's probably going to be in that like 20 to 21 minute range. And Jenkins, he could play 28 plus minutes and obviously also carry a good amount of usage for this team. So I would probably prefer Jenkins pretty easily, but we'd probably have to rerun minutes and whatnot to see where we're actually at. But my guess is I would pretty much be locking in Jenkins, I think, with also a big bump to Duren and Tobias Harris. And I think Tobias Harris and Duren are both great plays right now, so they would get only even better.
Yeah, it is interesting, the conundrum as far as Ivy versus Jenkins, because Jenkins was the undrafted player, but he's playing better, and Ivy was the top 5 pick, 5 overall, and it feels like Jenkins has kind of passed him. Is that if nothing else, they're neck and neck, and they wanted Ivy to be better. Are they ready to? How does Detroit feel? You got boots in the ground. You might have a take as well yourself. Are you done with Ivy? Is this it? Is he not getting any better? Move on?
I mean, I think the hope is that they can trade him. I do think that he's fine. I think that he'll probably end up being a little bit better. And maybe he could be a guy that you get on a little bit of a discount since he hasn't really done anything. And a lot of that was due to injury. But
yeah.
So if he can stay healthy, I don't think he's like a bad player to have in your rotation. But he's just not playing a lot right now. And I think that you could maybe still sell that potential promise of him being a former top 5 pick and whatnot. So the ideal run out is that they end up trading him in a package with a couple other guys to upgrade some of these wings or whatever they can do.
Is there somebody like realistic? Who's the realistic guy you guys trade for if you're trading for somebody? What are they talking about? What are they speculating as far as potential trades for Detroit?
I mean, I would say that maybe the most realistic is Michael Porter Jr. The ideal one for me would be Trey Murphy. I know that they already came out and said that they're not going to trade him, but there was like a little bit of discussion with Triple J as an option. I don't think he would be a bad piece to have. And he's he played at Michigan State, so maybe there's a little bit more of a incentive for him to want to come here. But I don't know if that's necessarily a super likely move there. But I mean, Trey Murphy would be the dream scenario right there. But I think we just got Cade out.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That changes the dynamics because now we know. And you don't have to play the if-then stuff. You don't have to build for potential if-then. By the way, Triple J, do we like the contract? 5 years, 239? Like, is that something you want to be married to?
No, not necessarily, but I do think it, adds to their. I mean, I think it makes their defense even a little bit better, which would be nice. But yeah, I mean, it certainly wouldn't be the best case scenario, but I do think that at least would improve their current team. And I think at this point, like, want to see them try to make a move to try to get. I mean, it's a really good chance to make it to the finals. The East looks pretty pretty wide open for them right now. So that's the upside there.
The right to get crushed by OKC or
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's something. That'd be a hell of a season if you could somehow make a run.
Levert out as well, by the way.
Yeah. We'll get a refresh here on projection soon enough, but Detroit's going to pop for sure. Man, I've been a Triple J truther. I've been a backer, but it's just been harder and harder. I just can't rebound the ball basically for his size. I want him to be better, and I don't know. Maybe he's just not. The stocks are down. I don't know. I understand why he's in that contract, but
you could also make the case that it's just like turmoil in Memphis this season. Like they just are a complete mess, and they have been ever since like the Ja drama. So maybe like a change of environment would help. And he also really wouldn't have to worry about rebounding much because you have Jalen Duren here. So I think it's not the worst fit.
I think he's my favorite, like mid to upper tier spend. We talk, center is really interesting because there's a lot of good 4 or 5 guys in the middle, like a 5K or even like cheapies. But I think Duren is just awesome. He gets a 3% bump. I think a 3.5% bump as far as usage in the absence of Cunningham. I was looking at that earlier in the day. Other thing about Duren that we like is, points in the paint and rebounding. New Orleans is not good at either one of those, subduing points in the paint, subduing, rebounding. This feels like a game where Duren could potentially drop like 18 and 20. I love him. I love him. He's one of, if not my favorite play on the slate. I'm just kind of bummed that he's going to be more popular now because of the Cunningham news. And do you want to just give a quick one more time with Cunningham officially out, your power ranking of Pistons?
I think the starting lineup will be interesting. You mentioned it. They have been, starting Ivy, or at least projecting to start Ivy with Jenkins coming off the bench, but I still think Jenkins could play equal or more minutes there. I think the main thing is, though, this game, I'm assuming the spread's going to drop to like 6.5, 5.5 maybe. So that not only does it put this Detroit team in a great spot from a usage perspective because Cade's out, but now they're likely going to be playing, full amount of minutes with a closer game as well. So it's just like the best case scenario for all of these guys. 6.5 is the spread now. So Jalen Duren looks fantastic. I do like Jenkins a little bit more than Ivy. Projections also like him more. Tobias Harris, fantastic play. I think if you're looking for, dart throw tournament plays, even Ron Holland and Javonte Green are in play. We've seen these guys really benefit from like spike games at times from a minutes perspective. It will be interesting to see the Jenkins minutes and how that comes to fruition. I actually wouldn't be that surprised if we see a random Marcus Sasser start.
Oh boy.
But that's more like I would say 10% chance. But nonetheless, all these guys look a lot better.
Is that line telling us Zion's playing?
I would say so. I would say Cade's probably worth 3 points to the spread. So I would probably guess that Zion plays. But you never know. Sometimes it's a reaction effect where, Cade's out, let's give Zion the night off as well. Or maybe now we have a better chance to win, so Zion maybe even better chance to play. I think it's a.
Do they care?
No, probably not. But I think it actually makes the Pelicans guys better too. I don't think Cade's not a bad defender, but he's not like an exceptional defender. He's not a guy you're afraid of. But again, the spread being closer is huge for these guys, and I actually think it's a good spot for Zion. I think he'll be able to bully Tobias Harris quite a bit. So, I think it's a good, probably the best game on the board now. And
we had if Zion's out, nobody really jumps out. Like guys get better, right? Bay gets a little better. Queen gets better on DK. On FanDuel, Misi is somebody that projects pretty well. There's some fragility there. The minutes between Misi and Queen, you never really know which way that's going to go. Certainly you wouldn't roster both those guys. Anything else you want to say as far as Detroit and New Orleans, or shall we move along?
No, we'll probably be able to come back to them once we get the starting lineup if we get that in time. But yeah.
Steve, let's give the wheel a whirl. Are we spinning it once or twice? Did we get to the old 100 likes to give an additional week of RG Premium out?
No, we need 12 more.
Oh, jeez. Well, maybe we get 12 in the next 20 seconds?
Maybe.
Shout out to is that Mr. Nap? Mr. Nap 21.
Mr. Nap 21.
That song was "Give Me a Nap." What was that song choice? That was something.
I just hit like shuffle on the rock category.
That was not rock.
Yeah,
it's a very
like
liberal
surf music.
Yeah. Okay. Did we get to 100 or we stopped there?
We just did. So
there you go. Look at that. You got to make it suspenseful. Fire it up. Producer Steve's gonna hit you up there in the Discord channel, juice you up, get your RG screen name, give you a week free of RG Premium if you want. If you want to scores and odds, you can ask for scores and odds. Steve can make that happen as well. 50s rock, rockabilly is what the chat's saying. Yeah, okay. But when you think of rock, maybe it's just me, Kyle. I don't think of that. Was that just me?
I don't know, man. That sounded like the old throwback rock, kind of like the Chuck Berry style rock and roll. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe not like heavy rock, but some rock and roll maybe.
Marty McFly at the dance. Okay, the last game on the slate. It is Atlanta. Atlanta taking on Memphis. 239.5 is a total. It's high and tight, right? Atlanta is just a 1-point dog here at Memphis. So, this game is really, really appealing. The last two games are pretty appealing. It's front-loaded with the first game's pretty good. The middle stuff, at least that's me. I don't really love game 2, game 3. But game 4 and game 5 and this 8 o'clock block is pretty interesting. As far as who's in and out in this one, well, we're firing up the old injury reports. Atlanta is still without Porzingis, no Riche, no Newell. Well, he's officially doubtful in the G League. Otherwise, nothing else of note. Memphis, midday downgrade for Santialdamos. Are assuming he's out. He's doubtful officially. And Scottie Pippen, we haven't seen him all season long. He's not playing. None of the Pippins or Scottie Pippen Jr. Ty Jerome is still out. Zach Edey, of course, is still out for Memphis. They're coming back from their European trip where we saw John Moran have a big game. I think he sat one and went nuts. And the other, awesome game environment here. How are we feeling about the Hawks and the Grizz?
Yeah, you mentioned it. Really good spot for both these teams here. On Memphis, Landale's going to be the popular option. I think he's a really strong play. I do think John Morant's a good player. It kind of goes back to the LaMelo Ball, maybe my hesitation to take a shot on him because I think I'd rather do that with John Morant in this spot. He played 28 minutes last game, so I think there's upside for 30-plus, more likely for Morant than LaMelo Ball. Morant's actually $300 cheaper on DraftKings, so I'll take John Morant there. So Landale and Ja are my two favorite plays for Memphis. Also like Coward a little bit here at 5.5. Triple J I think is fine. Don't mind him, but I would probably prefer to play John Morant, but maybe if it's a spot where, guard slots are taken up, would not mind Triple J in this one. On the other side, Jalen Johnson's fantastic, I think, in this spot. The thing is, he's been bad with CJ McCollum. I mean, maybe not bad, but he hasn't been as good as we've kind of come to expect from Jalen Johnson. McCollum's just taking up a ton of usage right now, and I'm hoping that maybe after that Monday MLK Day debacle with McCollum trying to get the final shot and him just, to be blunt, absolutely embarrassing himself and just looking directly at Jalen Johnson, who is very clearly the best player on the team, deciding not to pass to him, kicking the ball around and then throwing it up. Hopefully McCollum can either maybe miss out on a few minutes or maybe come to the realization that this is Jalen Johnson's team again. And, I think Jalen Johnson certainly has one of the higher ceilings on the board here, but it is worth noting that McCollum has been taking away from some of his upside. Okongwu, Alexander Walker, guys that I like, and then Corey Kispert as well. 21, 22-minute projection here. I don't think he's going to be a guy who's going to see 28-plus minutes, but I think that there is a world where maybe he has a little bit of a higher ceiling to maybe take away from Kennard or Krejci and maybe see that 24, 25 minutes. I think he was actually the better addition than CJ McCollum in that Trae Young trade. So at 3,700, I actually don't mind Corey Kispert in the spot. Looks like he's going to have some ownership, so maybe not my favorite play due to the ownership, but certainly think that there's a lot of really good plays highlighted by Jock Landale here.
So I think what's happening here is that, earlier in the day, Kispert was getting some ownership, but it's now going to fall back to Detroit, and Kispert's going to kind of go away.
100%.
I just ran, I ran 193 optimals on DK with some variance and a ceiling, and Kispert is now just 11% of them because the first 4 most popular players in my lineups on DK are Pistons. Jenkins, Harris, Thompson, Duran, and Ivy's not too far behind either. So, I think we no longer need that salary savings that Kispert would offer. Not saying you can't play him, but no longer necessary. And I was looking at the same thing with McCollum. He's played 131 minutes on the court with he's played 131 minutes for Atlanta. He's got the biggest usage in the team at 31.99%. Jalen Johnson 23%, and his usage dip is 3%. His assist rate's down. I agree with you. I think it's going to matter to some degree, right? A little bit, but I don't think it's going to be that much. And it's Jalen's team, right? It's pretty clearly, and I think McCollum, I just think that's going to flip a little bit. Like it's going to matter in some ways. They're not going to be on the court at the same time as well because we're expecting McCollum not to start. I like Jalen, like you. Long story short, I still think he's awesome, and his rates might dip a little bit, but he's also the highest projected player on the slate. He's also projected to play more minutes than anybody else in the slate, and we have value now, so it's not that hard to get him if you want to get him. So I do like him a good bit. I'm checking to see, 21% on FanDuel as far as Jalen Johnson, and on DK. 25%. Okongwu coming in at 23% as well, looking pretty good. He's another guy who's going to play a pile of minutes. We do have crunch time coming in here in just a few minutes as well, just acknowledging that. Do you have plums? Do you have plums for the people, Kyle? Who's your plums play?
Yeah, I do have plums, and I think my I have a couple of different options. At least 2 different options. I think I've been back and forth between a couple of these Charlotte guys. I think Brandon Miller is probably going to be the final answer here for me. Obviously, all these Detroit guys look like elite plays, but I think at the end of the day, my final plums play is going to be Brandon Miller, which he'd also be my ladder play. I know some people were in chat asking. I'd have to look and see where his lines currently are right now, but I think the Brandon Miller ladder play on his points or his threes looks pretty appealing in this spot.
Lippy says he agrees with me in chat. I'm not sure what he agrees on, how far back that goes, but then TJ Mooseman's out to give him the business saying, you're in trouble. It's a bad starting point when you're agreeing with Dean. Roth, by the way, Roth's got some beard envy. He wants to know how long that took you to grow.
Uh-oh. I don't know. I've heard goatee like way too many times, so I'm like, it's about to get out of here because it's not coming in on the sides enough, but I think this is like 2.5 weeks now, maybe a little longer. So I'm going to give it a couple more weeks. I'll probably at the end of the month. And if the sides don't start to come in, I got to get rid of it because I can't hear another goatee comment. I can't do it.
It's because head on. Like it's tougher to see the side.
Yeah. And the sides aren't there right now, but we'll see how it goes.
But if you turn your head, then, oh, there it is. Okay. Now I see it. Right. If we look at you straight on though, it's harder, it's just harder to catch the signs. The people, we should make that today's poll question. I guess it's too late for that. Should Kyle shave? Yes or no? There's today's poll question. Stick around for that. Does the wife, fiance, girlfriend?
Girlfriend, she likes it quite a bit. Yeah, so so that's probably the only reason it's still here. But otherwise, it would have been gone a week ago. But yeah,
is Crunch Time fully assembled? I see Roth lurking in chat. All right, here we go. Looks like Noto's going to be here as well as Beer. Let's do it. Let's seamlessly segue. It is crunch time right now. Oh, Noto's going to be back in just a second. Apparently he's scrambling over there, but you got Beer, you got Roth. Roth, how are things? Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, thanks, man. Happy Wednesday to you as well. I don't know if I would call it beard envy, Dean. It was just beard curiosity would be, it doesn't look bad, but definitely more goatee than.
Yeah.
See, now beer. No, you look at a guy named Beer.
That's beer. Everybody's got beard envy for beer. That's absurd.
Yeah. That's how it's done, youngin.
Yeah. And this is one day. I shaved this morning.
Beer, Kyle's coming for you. Are you nervous?
Hey, it's looking good. I think he should keep going, but I get it. Sometimes you get to a point, you're frustrated, get rid of it, but I think it's looking good. I'll give it the stamp of approval.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You ever see the beard competitions? Like, I'm sure you guys seen this before. It's spectacular. And I've watched it with Beard Envy for sure. Like, it's incredible. Like, Beer, you have all these options. You're just going like it's kind of old. Do you ever do like you ever mess around? Just like I don't know the terms, but
no.
Mutton chops, just
no. For me, Dean, I got to keep my face warm. It's cold up here, Roth. I'm gonna take this out on you, but no, I the handlebar mustaches and no, I'm dealing with the grays already, Dean. So that's my experimenting.
You make it worth it. You make it worth. So embrace the grays. What are we talking about? Are we in the negatives? Is it like in the teens? How cold is it there?
This weekend they're talking negative 40 real feel temperature.
Good God. Jesus.
Do you leave the house when it's negative 40?
If I don't have to, no. Unfortunately, with kids in travel sports and snow to remove and yada, 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 it's not really an option. If I had my vices, no. I'm turning a game on, pouring a beer, and looking outside.
We talked about this yesterday. Do you have a snow guy, or you're the snow guy?
No, I'm the snow guy.
You're the plow. Oh, man. Jeez. Do you got one of those like automated, like you just fire it up and just blows it all the place? Or you got to like manually.
Yeah. It's so funny to hear somebody from the South talk about snow. A snowblower, Dean, is the term you're looking for. A snowblower.
What is this object?
Yes. You fire that baby up and you start throwing snow. So
it's magic, though. I've seen it work.
Oh, it's kind of fun, actually. I mean, when you get a ton of snow, it's not so fun. But yeah, they are a miracle machine. One of man's greatest inventions, for sure.
You got one of those as well? No, I don't know. The snow machine, snow blower, they call it. Snow
blower. Yes.
I have the sun, which works just as good. It just takes a little longer. The neighbors probably hate me, but yeah, we haven't had a lot of snow this year or last year, actually.
Okay. Yeah, it's not hitting Utah for whatever reason. Roth, anything of note weather-wise for football? Is it too early to say?
No, I don't think it's too early. It's cold in Denver, probably in the 20s, and maybe a sprinkle in Seattle, but I'm kind of going away from that. I think neither of them are big impacts. The cold matters a little bit, but not a lot. It should be pretty good.
Anything of note as far as, you probably wrote something up for this, and I apologize, but golf tomorrow?
Yeah, I actually just got that forecast out. I'm like kind of out of the loop of getting used to doing that every week. But no, it's in Southern California and the weather's freaking ridiculous. Like 1 mile per hour wind every day. It's crazy.
It's perfect for golf.
Yep.
Kyle, anything else before you step aside and get out of here?
No, good luck, everybody.
That was Kyle. I was Dean. You got 40 minutes. You got 5 games. Plenty of time to break it down. Roth, it's all yours.
Good stuff. As always, welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. It's 2 of the sharpest minds in the industry. Noto and Beer. First, though, I got to reference this. Let's see. Stud MLB says, Dean, have you ever messed around with a beard? And oh, my friend, do I have a picture for you? Hopefully, producer
Please.
Steve.
It's so good. That is one of the greatest things of all time.
In case you can't tell, that's Dean's mustache. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh this hard.
No,
shit.
Did he dye it? Did it come in that color? Like what?
I don't know.
What is going on there?
I didn't ask him.
It's
It's
like
so
the good old milk mustache.
Oh.
We also had another comment. Has Dean ever shoveled a driveway? I highly doubt it.
No,
is my answer.
We discussed this yesterday. Dean has not ever shoveled the driveway, nor have I. Nor do I ever plan to. Cuban Cohiba says, man, I had to put my glasses on just to see that. It's so good.
One more time.
Man, yeah, just one more. The people are hoping they could catch one more glimpse of that glorious white caterpillar sitting thick on Dean's stash. We got Noto in the house. Noto, what's up, man?
Yeah, doing good. Just a regular old Wednesday. Had to get a babysitter for the little, so sorry I was a little late. But yeah, doing good. How are you guys?
Hanging in there. Got beer in the house. How you feeling, man?
Doing well, man. Smaller slate tonight, but a lot of injuries, a lot of things to break down. So I am good, my man. Ready to rock here.
Okay, well, let's just dive on into it then. Let's start. Beer, you mentioned a lot of injuries, some stuff to break down. Would you mind just giving me kind of a general outlook on what's happened, and then Noto, I'll have you start us off at DraftKings point guard after that.
Yeah, I mean the big news: Cade Cunningham going to be out tonight. There's some other names, but he is certainly the biggest name that will be missing. So Detroit, obviously, there's going to be a lot of value. We're going to get the question: how many Detroit pieces is too many? And we'll answer that as we go. Darius Garland out for Cleveland is another one, and then we're watching some news. Zion Williamson still listed as questionable here tonight, dealing with an illness. So I think the Cade news is probably the biggest thing in how to navigate this Detroit situation. But again, it's a little 5-gamer, but some intriguing games in here. So, some games with some big spreads, but there are some solid plays I think look a little lower on than they should be.
Okay, very good. Well, let's dive right into it. Noto, that's where you come in. We'd like to start on DraftKings with a little point guard talk. What do you got?
Yeah, so now that Cade's out, you got all the Detroit guys. You got Jaden Ivey, probably going to see minutes in the 20s. Dennis Jenkins, who's probably my favorite value on the slate. Anytime he's kind of been thrust into a bigger role, he's really played well. And then you have LeVert. I think he's only shooting guard eligible. Actually, not. Is he out too?
LeVert is out.
Yeah, so it's even better for Jenkins and Ivy. And then if you're spending up, I really like John Morant. He's been bad all season, but the last 3 games, he's finally picked it up. 54, 40, 49 fantasy points. The usage rate's been over 30% in like 15 of his last 18 games. So the usage rate's been there all season. He just hasn't had the efficiency. Expect that to go up in a matchup against Atlanta. And no Aldama for Memphis. I think that's going to help boost him even more. So those are my favorites. But then you can look at Jalen Brunson for like a cash game setting. Brooklyn's defense isn't great. They do play at a slow pace, but New York's used to that, so it doesn't really hurt him all that much. Nembhard's fine. Pritchard, I don't really love any of these guys, so I'm probably playing a lot of Morant and then a lot of the Detroit value.
Okay, Beer, what are your thoughts and your faves here? Because you can spend up with Ja, or you can save a whole lot of money.
Yeah, Ja is my favorite play on the slate. Had him in the 6-pack today. This is just too cheap for him. I know it's been a frustrating start to the season, but like Noto mentioned, he returned, looked good. I did a lot of damage in not a lot of minutes, and now you give him a matchup with the Atlanta Hawks. Both these teams play fast, so just fits his game well. Get up and down the floor. We got a close spread in this one, which we can't say for every game. The highest total on the board, so just a lot of boxes in his favor. So if you're spending, that's where I prefer to spend at the point guard position tonight. Obviously, you have the value with Jenkins and Ivy. I give the slight edge to Jenkins, a little bit cheaper. We haven't projected for both right around the same amount of minutes, but I just think Jenkins is a better play. Ivy's still, somewhat limited. I don't know. They want to unleash him. Maybe he gets a few more minutes tonight, but to me, Jenkins is the superior play, and it saves you $700. So Sasser, we'll probably get questions about. That would be, I'm running a lot of lineups. I want to get different. You can throw him in there, but not my favorite play. I don't know that he's going to get a boatload of minutes tonight, so I would save that one for running a ton of lineups. But I agree on Peyton Pritchard. I think he's intriguing tonight. Dyson Daniels, a guy that I generally always play, and this is a high risk, high reward. The floor isn't necessarily the safest with him, but I do like his ceiling. Just a guy that can contribute so many different ways. So that game as a whole, there's a lot of plays in that Atlanta and Memphis game that I like tonight. So Jalen Brunson's fine. I prefer Morant. He's $800 cheaper, so not really going there. Andrew Nembhard, 6,700 is a good price on him. But like Noto said, it's a lot of Morant. It's a lot of gobbling up this Detroit value, mostly for me tonight at point guard.
Looking at Jenkins and Ivy, the value there at Detroit, Is there a world in which you play both of them, or is one of them kind of the guy, Beer?
I think you can play them both. Again, I prefer Jenkins, but I have no issues playing them both. Most of your lineups are likely going to have multiple Detroit pieces, unless you say I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to get different. I don't think you have to have them, but it's pretty close to. When a guy like Cade Cunningham's out, it's so much usage to go around. So is that my preferred strategy? Probably not. I would probably rather pick one or the other, but I think you can pull it off playing both. And the prices are cheap enough that you can get away with it. I just worry about the ceiling.
Okay, very good. Let's go to shooting guard, Beer.
Shooting guard, again, Ivy can play here. Duncan Robinson is a guy I really like before the injury news. He was another six-pack play tonight. So he's only going to get that many more minutes, that many more shots here tonight. It's a good spot against New Orleans, bad defense. Team that gives up a lot of threes to the 2 and the 3. They're one of the worst teams in that regard. So that's the name of his game. Unfortunately, it's about all he does is score the basketball. So, but I do think he's in a good spot. Price is cheap enough at 4,300. Jalen Tyson, a guy I really like with Garland out. We've seen some big games out of him. So nice ceiling upside at these prices on Jalen Tyson. Donovan Mitchell, if you're spending, same team. Love this spot for them tonight against Charlotte. Other side of that game, really like Con Knipple at 6,600. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I'm going to name a bunch of plays from this Atlanta-Memphis game, but another guy that's just been delivering some high-ceiling games, gets it done in so many different ways. He's always a favorite of mine, and I love him in the spot tonight against Memphis.
Okay, very good. Noto, your thoughts at shooting guard?
Yeah, it's a rare play where I have 2 shooting guards tagged as core plays. First, Donovan Mitchell. No Darius Garland. He's averaged 47 fantasy points in the games that Garland has missed the last 3 years. Nice matchup against Charlotte, who they're a good rebounding team, but they don't defend wings and point guards very well. So I like Mitchell. I also like Jalen Tyson, like Beer mentioned. Anytime he gets a big role, he tends to play well. Coming off of a couple of big games, he's averaged over a fantasy point per minute. So with Merrill out, with Garland out, I think he makes a lot of sense at 6-1. And now that we have all this Detroit value, I think we're going to see his ownership dip a little bit. It's at 24 right now. I could see that coming in even lower. You play Ivy here. A lot of the guys Barry mentioned, the Atlanta guys. I don't mind Cedric Coward, but I prefer John Morant if you're playing, one guy from Memphis. That's pretty much it for me. We'll keep an eye on the Zion news. Trey Murphy could be a guy that I look to. He's had 55 plus in 3 of his last 7 games. So if Zion's out, I think he could really be a nice spend up his shooting guard.
Okay, good stuff. We get to go to small forward. Noto, you can lead us off there.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown's kind of the unexciting play with the high floor. He's good bet for 50 fantasy points every time he goes out there. Good matchup against Indy. A little bit of a pace-up spot for Boston. Now that Cade's out, Oscar Thompson's going to make a lot of sense. His minutes have been all over the place, but if he gets to 30 minutes, he's got a bunch of upside. I like Jalen Tyson here as well. And then after that, it's kind of the guys I would only look to in large field tournaments, like Michael Porter Jr., who's had a nice season with the Nets. Brandon Miller, who can get it done, but tends to be pretty inconsistent. If you want to play a little lower-owned guy in Detroit, you can go with Ronald Holland, who's been playing some good basketball lately. Should see an increase in usage as well. And that should just about do it. Small forward.
Yeah. Okay. Beer, your thoughts at small forward?
This MPJ hate will not stand here. No. That's my guy. So
I said he's good for a large field.
Yeah, that's still a little disrespect to my boy, right, Rolf? Am I wrong?
A little
here?
bit. It's a slight knock. Yeah.
No, I'm just messing with him. But I do like MPJ. If I am spending tonight, not the easiest matchup with the Knicks. Some of those wings, good defenders, but I do like spending on him tonight. We mentioned Jalen Tyson. I really like Brandon Miller as well. I think people still look at Cleveland as, we can't play guys against Cleveland, and that defense is just not what it used to be. So I really like him at 7K. Agree on the Detroit guys. Thompson, probably my favorite at 55. Holland would be more. Again, I'm running a bunch of lineups, a good salary saver at 39. But we know the risk that he comes with. Other than that, it's not a deep position. I do like Sam Hauser at 4,900. He, just continues to beat his salaries. We look for consistency. I want to say it's 5 or 6 in a row that he's giving you at least the 5X you want in a cash game. And then you get that 6, 7, 8X upside with him as well. And then we have contingent, Sadiq Bey, I think, is in play regardless. He becomes a lot more exciting if Zion's out. That projection, the ceiling, all will go up on him if we have no Zion tonight. So keep an eye on that. He becomes much more of a play if Zion were to miss tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. That brings us to the power forward, Beer.
Power forward, I'm a Jalen Johnson guy. Pretty sure Noto is as well. Started the day kind of lower owned, and it's gone up throughout the day. But 10-2, this matchup, I really like spending up on him tonight, even at this ownership. I don't think it's high enough on him. If you can't quite get to him, I do like Evan Mobley against the Charlotte interior at 9K. Going down a step, if Zion does play, I still like him. I think a lot of people are going to bail on it and worry about the illness and things like that. 7,900 is not a bad price for Zion here in this matchup. OG Anunoby in the mid-range at 6,400. And then you have Tobias Harris, whose ownership's kind of leveling off a little bit with some of the other Detroit value opening up. But 5,200, guy that's been playing well. They're going to need somebody to provide some offense, and he can step in and do that. So I think he's a great cash game play. And even in tournaments, earlier in the day, he was up near 45%. That's looking like it's come down a little bit. So yeah, even in tournaments, I think there's some intrigue with Tobias Harris.
Okay. Very good. Noto, your thoughts here at power forward.
I want to hear your bet first.
Oh, I was just kidding. Some guy was like, gambling's the worst. I was just trolling this guy. I do not actually have a great bet. Power forward, Noto, what do you got?
I did see the chat talking up Pels money line at plus 235. Don't mind that with Kate out. Jalen Johnson's probably my guy here. Highest floor probably of anyone at the position, not even close. I like Jaren Jackson too. He's not a guy that you want to rely on, but man, they're missing Aldama. They got the great matchup against Atlanta. He's shown a bunch of upside. It's just he has a low floor too. So more of a tournament play, but I do like spending up on those two. Beer mentioned Tobias Harris. Typically not a guy I play in tournaments, but yeah, the upside's been there recently. Cade's out, so I could definitely get there at 5,200. Probably going to be underweight on Mobley just because Charlotte's such a good rebounding team. Zion, again, if everyone's going to be scared to play him, if he's active, I think he becomes an interesting spot. You might want to save 8,100 for a utility, and then you could play Zion in that spot. If not, play Trey Murphy. If Zion ends up being out, I kind of like going with that strategy. And then, I don't hate Sam Hauser. The chat's talking him up a little bit. He put up 50 the other night, which was surprising, but good matchup against Indy.
Yeah. Okay. You get to bring us to the center spot. I've got a lot of cash to spend. Who am I spending it on, Noto?
I think everyone's going to gravitate to Duren now. He sees healthy usage boost, healthy fantasy point per minute boost without Cade. Great matchup against the Pelicans. He hasn't had a great stretch of games, but he played 30 minutes his last time out. We've been waiting for the minutes to come up. They finally did last game, and 7,200 is the cheapest he's been in quite some time. So I like him. I like Karl Anthony Towns a little bit. Brooklyn, not a good rebounding team, not a good team that defends the paint well. Towns has been pretty good recently, 55, 45, and 51 in his last 3 games. So if I'm spending up, those are my 2 faves. If I'm going the value route, Jock Landale, been playing well. Quietly has 32 plus in 4 of his last 7. Again, no Aldama for Memphis. And then you got Jaren Jackson here. Probably won't be messing with anybody else, but maybe some Derek Queen if Zion ends up being out.
I was just thinking that exact thing. Beer, your thoughts at center. And let's just say straight up, I've got all the money in the world. Towns or Duren? And just eat the leftover cash.
I would go Towns, especially in tournaments. He'll be a fraction of what you're going to see Duren at. So I will go that route, but both good plays. And I think those are the guys, if you're spending, those are the 2. I would throw a Kongwu in there against Memphis. Those are probably your 3 best spends. And then there's some good value. Landale being my favorite at 5K, like Noto mentioned, he's been playing well. They're down Edey, they're down Brandon Clark, they're down Aldama. He's going to have to play pretty significant minutes here tonight. So I think he's the best value by far. In that same kind of price range, if you're worried about ownership with Landale, I don't think you're going to get a ton of ownership. But Kate doesn't play at 54 and Diabate at 52. So three guys there on the cheap. If for whatever reason you're not going Duran or Towns or Okongwu, I think those three are excellent value tonight.
Okay, very good. I want to kick it to FanDuel. Before I do that, a couple things. First, I'm looking at Asar Thompson, and maybe I was zoned out and I missed it. Did we discuss him at all?
Yeah. Yep. He's absolutely in play. He's one of my favorite shooting guards for sure.
I love that. Okay. I just feel like his issue is he doesn't take shots, and that's because he plays with the dude who takes a lot of shots, and now maybe he will take some shots and add some rebounds and dimes to it. Okay, very good. Let's go over to FanDuel. I'll hit our promo read once we're done with that. Beer, you can start us off. FanDuel point guard.
So yeah, the same Detroit guy, Jenkins, 4,300 here. So he's more expensive than Ivy, who's 38. So I think you're going to see more ownership on Jenkins here on FanDuel. I still prefer him over Ivy, even with that ownership. But the same question: can you play them both? You absolutely can. It's going to open up a lot of things for you. So those are the clear, easy, cheap guys. Still love Morant here at 79. Under 8K on both sites is a great price on him. So taking advantage of that. Peyton Pritchard at 64. He's a guy I never get right. I mean, when I play him, he has one of them games. When I don't, he tends to go off. So I am playing him tonight. So do with that what you will. But 64, a good price on him. Kind of same guys I mentioned on DraftKings are playable here. Dyson Daniels at 7,300. Nickeil Alexander-Walker at 7K. CJ McCollum, it's kind of been ho-hum, nothing too exciting, but I think a big game's coming from him sooner or later. So didn't mention him on DraftKings. You can play him there, but 6K here I think is a great price. So Jeremiah Fears, another name I've had a little bit of. And LaMelo Ball, I haven't landed on yet. I know we had a question about him. I don't know what they're doing with him. I don't know what the minutes are going to look like. I'm going to sit that one out. And if he beats me, he beats me. Things happen.
Yeah. Okay. Noto, your thoughts at point here on FanDuel.
Yeah, LaMelo's a tough one. If we knew he was going to get 30 minutes, I'd be all in at this price. But, man, he's played 19 and 20 minutes the last two games. Maybe some blowouts had something to do with it. But prior to that, he had 28 and 32 minutes. So if you get one of the 28 or 32 minutes, you can certainly see a path for him getting there. Like Beer mentioned, Cleveland's not the same defensive team that they used to be. They're very, very exploitable for fantasy production. But, yeah, I like the Detroit guys, Jenkins and Ivy. Slight lean to Jenkins, but I think you can play them both. And then my two tags, Donovan Mitchell, John Morant. Mitchell without Garland, Morant playing well finally. Good matchup against Atlanta. And, that's pretty much it for my small field tournament player pool.
All right, let's go to shooting guard.
Yeah, Oscar Thompson's here, projected for 40% ownership. I think that's certainly fair. 6K is a good price point. We're going to see that usage rate go up quite a bit without Cade. You also have Jenkins and Ivy. If you want to get different, Beer brought up Duncan Robinson over on DraftKings. You can play him here too, although you don't get the 3-point bonus like you do over on DK. Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Tyson, I think are both excellent options against Charlotte. And then I could play some Jaylen Brown here. He's a guy that never really seems to be too popular. So I like him at 9,700 against Indy. With all the value, we got to spend up somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Beer, shooting guard.
Yeah, Detroit, again, Jenkins, Ivy, Thompson, all in play. Robinson is that pivot who is not as exciting, and maybe the upside isn't as high, but the ownership isn't going to be nearly as high as well. So I like Noto mention, more intriguing on DraftKings, but good price here. Ownership, looks like it could be sub 20% on him. So I really like him as a pivot, but any of those guys are in play. I know we have questions. Can we rank them? I'm sure we'll get to that when we get to the questions, but like all of those guys. Jalen Tyson is a little bit cheaper over here on FanDuel. You don't see it very often where he's more expensive on DraftKings. So a great price here at 59. Again, the Charlotte guys, Brandon Miller at 75, Con Knipple at 65. I prefer Knipple for 1,000 cheaper if you're deciding between those Charlotte guys. And then high end, I think Mitchell 1 for me if I'm spending, Jaylen Brown 2, but very close on those guys. And you're going to have the money. So I think it's very, very, that's about as coin tossy as it gets between those two. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, again, at 7K is in play here. Some value that a lot of people might not land on. Jalen Wells at 3,900. That's a game, again, I want to attack a bunch. So have a little bit of him. And then Trey Murphy becomes, I'm not going to say a must play, but gets a big boost if Zion's out. And even if Zion plays, he's not projecting for much ownership. And we love that in tournaments.
Are we going to get that news prior to the end of the show? Do you know when we expect to know that?
That is an 8:00 Eastern game. So my guess is not. I'm hoping we do, but I wouldn't expect to.
Worth like considering this and leaving a spot open, or you're just building the way you're building, and if it happens, try to jam in some Murphy.
I have a lot of Zions right now, so I'm just
okay.
So we'll make the swap personally.
Yeah. Okay. Easy enough. All right, let's go to small forward. Beer, what are you doing there?
Small forward, a lot of carryover here. Jaylen Brown, Knipple, Miller, guys we talked about. My boy Michael Porter, 8,500. Really like that price on him here tonight. Tobias Harris, 5,400 again. Probably your best value play along with Howard Stewart Thompson at 6K. You get in the Ron Holland again here at 42. I prefer Duncan Robinson at 43. They're going to project similarly, but I think Robinson plays more minutes. To me, Holland maybe has more of an exciting upside, but Robinson a little bit safer if you're between those two guys. Sam Hauser only 4,200 here on FanDuel. So we talk about DraftKings, he was 49. You're getting him at 42 here. So that's great value. His ownership is going to tank with all this Detroit news. So he's a great tournament pivot if you want to get a little bit different. Spend again, it's Jaylen Brown. You can play Jalen Johnson here at 10-4. I prefer if you can get to Johnson. If you can't, the $700 savings. Not bad on Jaylen Brown. And then Trey Murphy again, 8K playable with or without Zion.
Yeah. Okay. Noto, your thoughts at the 3.
Yeah, we did get a question about Craig Porter Jr. I think, great large field tournament play with Garland out. We've seen him, come off the bench, put up 40. So I don't mind that one. As far as small forwards go, the Detroit guys are great. Harris and Thompson. Jalen Johnson, I like that he's small forward eligible. It's typically a position that, we have a hard time filling. Jalen Tyson is probably my favorite point per dollar option. I think he brings a little bit more upside than Tobias Harris does, and he's going to be, half the ownership. So I like him a lot in tournaments. And then, I like the Sam Hauser call. 4,200 is a great price point. Definitely gets you different away from the Detroit chalk. So that'll do it for me.
Power forward.
Yeah, a lot of the same names. You got Tobias here, Jalen Johnson, both excellent options. I like Jaren Jackson. Again, I'm probably going to be underweight on Mobley. He's probably the one guy I'm taking a stand against, which I don't feel great about. And then you have Hauser here. You have Derek Queen here. If you can just, if Zion ends up being out, you want to be able to take advantage of that news. So whether you play, Murphy or Queen, then I think you're going to be in good shape. And it makes sense too, since we're playing a lot of Detroit guys. You kind of want that game to stay close and be high scoring. Yeah. Then I don't mind Okongwu. He's been playing great. I just haven't clicked his name because he keeps getting more expensive. And then I feel like I missed out. And now I don't want to pay a premium for him,
Yeah, fair enough. Beer, 4.
I like cramming in centers here where I can. So Okongwu fits that mix. I'm higher on Mobley. I get the concerns, but I do like him at 8,400. Karl Anthony Towns, another guy you can jam in here. Derek Queen, I like regardless. Again, it's similar to the Trey Murphy thing. I like him regardless. If Zion's out, he gets a bump. Murphy gets a bump. Sadiq Bey, another name I really like, also gets a bump. So keep a close eye on that one. I think it's the biggest domino that we're waiting on. Isaiah Stewart could be a Detroit guy that nobody really wants tonight. And I get why it's not exciting, but I think he could be open to some more minutes, some more opportunities. 5,200, a good price on him. Jaren Jackson, I'm playing him. He's another guy I don't really love. I don't play a ton, but I do like the spot for him tonight against Atlanta. And then again, we keep hitting on this Detroit value. You guys know by now, pretty much everybody on the Pistons is in play tonight.
Yeah. Okay. How about center?
Center, Duren looks good at 72, probably a little bit too cheap for this role. Like Noto mentioned, gets a nice bump. I still like Jock Landale at 5K. Again, his ownership is coming way down. Diabate at 51, Kate at 53. So if I'm not spending on Duren, the other centers, I'm trying to get in at power forward. The Towns, the Okongwus, guys like that we mentioned there, Jaren Jacksons. Those are my targets. But if I'm going cheap, I really like the spot for Jock Landale. And he should be under, I would say, under 20% pretty easily. Might be under 15% with some of this news rolling in. So he's a great cash game salary saver or a tournament option tonight.
Yeah. Noto, your favorite centers?
Yeah, same list as Beer, Landale, Duren. Probably my favorites. Don't mind Okongwu. Man, Cat at 3%, staring me right in the face on FanDuel. I'm probably going to play him on DraftKings, but he's going to be a little bit higher owned over there. So if you're playing FanDuel tournaments, get a little bit of Cat in your life.
Yeah. Okay. Very good, guys. We still have a whole 12 minutes or so until we hit the lock, which is plenty of time for some questions. So get them in. They can be about growing beards, basketball, or dinner plans. Maybe some golf. Noto, you look at some golf action already, I assume?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You can throw some golf in the mix. Beer, do you play golf? Is this a sport that you play?
So I used to play, and I am a competitor, and I wasn't good at golf, and all it would do is piss me off. So I stopped for my well-being. Here's an example, quick story.
Yeah.
I'm golfing down in Florida. I spent some years down in Florida. Got so mad. I didn't just throw a club, Roth. I threw the whole damn bag of clubs into the pond, had my little anger fit, and then in about 2 minutes, it hits me like my car keys are in the golf bag. So in I go, and I'm talking like alligators are hanging out, and I got to go in this pond, get this bag. That was my last day of golf. So now my wife golfs. She's in a little league with her friends, and I'm going to get back into it. I can hit the ball far, but it goes.
Yeah.
I need some lessons. I need to get some properly fit clubs, and I need to avoid throwing your entire golf bag in the pond.
What hole was this on?
I made it, I want to say like 14 or 15, and I just had it. I turned into I'll just drive the car, have some beers, and chill out guy.
Yeah, that's better than raging throw your whole clubs.
It felt damn good to just launch the whole thing, and then the immediate like, oh my God, I gotta battle some gators to get my damn car keys.
It's a good way to go out, by the way. For that to be the last time that you went golfing, it's a pretty good note to go out on. All right, let's see what we got here with the QQs. Oh, first I want to let everybody know about PickLabs, newest RotoGrinders feature. Let you scan for the best player prop and pick 'em bets in seconds. You guys were asking if I really had a good bet. Well, PickLabs does. Make sure you're checking that out. Everything's broken down for you: edges, win rates, value. And it shows you all of the plays that actually stand out across sports books and sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. When you see something you like, it builds it right there, builds a slip, sends it straight to the book of your choice. All of that gets done in the app. You can find PickLabs at rotogrinders.com/PickLabs. It's phenomenal. We like it. You like it. Everybody likes it. Go ahead and give it a shot. Open it up to some QQs. Less than 10 minutes until lock. If you're watching on YouTube, hit us with the thumbs up. And let's see in the Discord, Philly Laker says Noto, MPJ, and Triple J versus Jalen Johnson, FanDuel single entry. So maybe one of those three dudes is what I'm gathering. MPJ, Triple J, or Jalen Johnson.
I mean, it's obviously going to depend on what you do with that extra money, but I'm going to go Jalen Johnson.
Okay. Beer, should I play Mitchell and Holland or wait for some Zion Murphy news? DK single entry.
I'm not as big on Holland tonight, so personally, I would wait it out for that news.
Jim says, Beer, can you play Miles Bridges?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most exciting matchup, but they have had some issues with power forwards, so he'll be low owned. That's the exciting part about it.
Yeah. Okay. Noto, a couple for you. One from D-Rock, DK single entry. The Opto has Knipple, Thompson, and Okongwu. Do you mind making a pivot to Robinson, Zion, and Naw?
Yeah, if it's tournaments, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, very good.
Just
okay.
try to leave 200 extra on the table so you can pivot to Murphy if Zion's out.
Okay, very good. Go for the win, says Noto. Do I go on DK with Zion and Okongwu for now and then pivot Zion to Jaren Jackson if Zion is out? Or should I just play Cat and Claxton instead?
I'm not a Claxton guy tonight, so I think I would wait, and then you can play Jaren Jackson if Zion's out.
Okay. Beer and Noto, who is in the Super Bowl? This is an important question. Beer, I will let you take that one.
I'm gonna go with I think New England wins. I don't know that as much as they want to talk up Stidham. I just don't. Yeah. I don't see that working. And I think the Rams go in and beat Seattle.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Noto, you got anything?
I don't know if you guys have seen the Great Oz or whatever that guy's name is. Yeah, they predicted 23-14 Rams over Broncos in the preseason. So if you haven't seen that video, it's wild.
That dude is crazy.
Oh, I did see.
Oz the Mentalist.
Okay. Yeah. I do not understand how the hell that works and how the guy does what he does.
And then they
didn't he have it written on his hand too?
Yeah. And then Stafford threw it to two guys that were those are the exact numbers for their jerseys.
It's like he plants what he wants you to say into your mind with like subtle cues. I don't know how the hell.
I need to learn how to do that.
Right. It could have its advantages. Okay, let's see what else we got here. More raw points, Beer, on DK, Brown or Mitchell?
He's going after he going after my coin toss. I'm going to give the slight edge to Mitchell, but it is super close.
Yeah, okay. Dean says, I've gone down the Oz YouTube rabbit hole as far as how he does what he does. So enlighten us if you've learned, Dean. But I'm intrigued. Ramazan says, Noto, Duncan Robinson or Jaden Ivey, DK GPP?
I'll go Duncan.
Okay. Scrolling up just a little bit here in the YouTube chat. Again, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Beer, Okongwu or Jaren Jackson on FanDuel?
My disdain for Jaren Jackson here. I'm going to go with Okongwu.
Okay. Beer, right back to you. Mitchell or Morant, FanDuel Cash?
Love Morant. Morant's my favorite spend up, quote unquote, on the slate tonight.
Okay. Noto, Luke says Sam Hauser or Duncan Robinson. This is a FanDuel single entry question.
That's 50-50 for me. I will go Duncan, but it's close.
Alan says, any leans for the late games? I think he's looking for betting leans here. OKC, Milwaukee, and Sacramento, Toronto.
I haven't spent a ton on those games, so I don't want to just give him something to give him something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I love betting against Sacramento, so maybe Toronto money line.
There you go. All right. DKGPP, Noto, Stewart versus Duren.
Like straight up. These questions are hard because you got the salary difference. So I'm going to go Duren, but yeah.
Okay. Beer. Chris says Jaylen Brown and Naw or Jalen Johnson and Pritchard. Also, any love for Mitch Rob at center on FanDuel?
I haven't landed on any Mitchell Robinson. I think there's just so many other options. And I will go with that first set.
Okay, Jaylen Brown and Naw. Beer, right back to you from Anger. DKGPP, Asar or Bay? And does your answer change if Zion is out?
My answer becomes Bay if Zion's out. So I'll say Asar, but if he's out, I think it's a great pivot. It's going to get you off of some of the Detroit chalk with guys that are going to get a boost. So, him, Queen, and Murphy are all intriguing plays.
Howard says Beer almost ended up like Chubbs and Happy Gilmore. You'd take the Gator, Beer. You might lose a finger, but you would take the Gator.
I ain't taking no damn Gator. I'm not kidding. They would sit on the edge of the, kind of sunbathe, whatever they do. It's super cool until you got to go in that damn pond, not knowing what's in there.
Yeah,
it was quite something.
I'm embarrassed to admit we used to get a little boozed up in high school and go swimming in the Gator ponds. We'd be like, let's go and just swim across the golf course Gator ponds and see what would happen in the middle of the night. We weren't smart. Noto, which high-owned Detroit pieces are you looking to fade in a DK large field GPP? Anybody on Detroit that is chalky that you're not all about?
I mean, I could see Tobias getting you like 28. I don't know. I don't feel great about it. I'm probably playing him still, but he's not the highest ceiling guy out there.
Yeah, that is the fade that I'm doing. So hopefully that works out. Right back to you, Noto. Jaylen Brown and Mobley, or Jalen Johnson and Okongwu? This is a FanDuel question.
Number 2.
Okay, very good. Lippy's got a question for Beer. Colin Sexton revenge narrative or Duncan Robinson?
Robinson, but I do like Sexton as well. He'll be super low.
Okay. We got a birthday narrative, Beer. Musa Diabate. We on him for the birthday narrative?
Oh, yeah. He's in that. Again, Landale, Keita, and Diabate are all great values in that 5K range. So I do like him.
Dean giving us an update on the whole, Oz thing. Dean says it is very disappointing and much less impressive once you know the true secret of what is happening.
I don't want to know.
Yeah,
I
right.
love that he phrased it that way because I don't want to know and I want to be. So thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Dean, for just giving us just don't dig deeper. Just let us stay with our surface level knowledge and be amazed. Noto DK cash question for you: Brown, Ivy, or Mitch Rob?
Okay, but if the scores, if the Rams win 23-14 over the Broncos, how do you explain that one?
Well, you can't. You can't. If that happens, there's no explaining that one.
In your face, Dean.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay.
I can't tell if it's a 2v2, Brown and Ivy, or Mitchell and Robinson, or if he means Brown, Ivy, or Mitchell Robinson.
It might be Donovan Mitchell and Duncan Robinson. That's my guess.
Okay.
Or Brown and Ivy.
Brown, Ivy.
Okay. Yeah, we needed more names for that one, as it turned out. Noto, is Ivy and Tobias, are they good cash options on FanDuel?
Did you say Noto?
Yeah, sure. It was Ivy and Tobias as cash options on FanDuel.
For sure. Yeah.
Beer, Duncan Robinson or Ivy DK GPP?
I prefer Robinson. To answer that Detroit question, Ivy is one of the guys that I'm going to be underweight on, along with Ron Holland. So I'll go Robinson.
Okay, that also answers a question in the Discord. Any love for GG Jackson, Beer?
I do think he could see some more run. The results aren't going to look great, but you think back to last year, this guy can put some numbers on the board. So it's super risky. Again, one lineup, I'm not going there, but multiples, I certainly think he can be in the pool. Okay.
Mark said, Noto, making you work for this one. Your favorite forward under 6K, I assume this is DraftKings, and he's looking for like the small forward, power forward combo, 6K or cheaper.
Let's see. Is Tyson 61?
61, yep.
Probably go Tobias.
Okay. Right back to you, Noto. Seconds until lock. Triple J and Landale or Kattenhauser?
Kattenhauser.
Very good. Let's see what else we got. Core play in a DK GPP, Beer. Mitchell, Morant, Miller.
Morant's my favorite play tonight, so I'll say Morant.
All right. Scrolling down, we hit the lock. That's what we're looking for. Lippy wants to know if we can hire Dean to shovel his driveway. Dean, let us know. Please.
I'll tell you what, Dean, name your price. We'll get you up here, and I'm going to kick back on a lawn chair in shorts in the snow with a cold beer and watch you shovel my driveway.
I'm going to come up. You tell me what the cost is. I'm going to fly up and I'll pay Dean. But Dean has to have the mustache.
He'll get one. When you start doing snow, you're going to get that little white stash that he had going. So it'll just come back naturally.
Oh, man. All right. Good stuff as always, gentlemen. We're going to clear on out of here. Yep. Looking good. For Noto, for Beer, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. Hit a thumbs up on your way out. You have been crunched.